Hello everyone, Callan here, and oh my gosh, we made it! 20k baby! So as promised, I'm gonna do a quick Q&A for you guys, and holy moly, a lot more of you had questions than I thought you would. I'm gonna go ahead and get the most asked question out of the way first. Admittedly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to answer this one, because I was kind of worried that people think I was super old or something, but then I realized I'm younger than Brandon Rogers and Markiplier, so honestly that made me feel a little bit better about things. I'm the same age as Jacksepticeye. People also asked me what my name was, and call me Callan? I honestly hate my real name with a fiery burning passion, and I don't even go by my legal name at work. I go by a nickname there too, and my roommates tend to call me Clover. So obviously I've also been given nicknames based off of the usernames that I've had in the past, but yeah, Callan. Just call me Callan. I was also asked if I have any pets, and yes, I do. I have a rabbit whose name is Chewy.
Do you want to say hi to all the people? You've made so much poop. Just cleaned this last night.
Ricardo DCT asks, now that we saw Asmodeus, which 7 deadly prince do you want to see next? Personally, I'd like to see Leviathan because of the Envy Ring apparently having a giant ocean or something like that. And what other shows do you like? Giselle Vargas, Topaz Bennett, and Brooke Benjamin also want to know what other shows I was into. Okay, so I love Centaur World, hands down. It's fantastic, and I'm so excited for the 2nd season. I'm also waiting for the next season of Stranger Things to drop. I loved Wander Over Yonder, Over the Garden Wall, and Gravity Falls. They're all shows that I loved. And Invader Zim. I was obsessed as a kid. As for what Demon Prince I'm the most excited to see, it's Mammon. Give me Mammon. I've also had a few people ask me about my Sona, from how I designed her, to how long it took, to what she even is. Callan here is actually a Vorpaltinger. A Vorpaltinger has a body comprised of various animal parts, generally wings, antlers, a tail, and fangs, all attached to the body of a small mammal. In this case, she's a rabbit with a cat's tail, ram horns, sharp teeth, and well, she doesn't have wings, but that doesn't mean she wasn't born with wings. I've never drawn her from behind yet, but she does actually have some scarring and some missing fur in 2 patches where her wings would have been. Originally, I made her as a sinner, but I've decided to more or less switch her into being a Hellborn demon because then I get to play with family dynamics and kind of build Vorpaltingers as a demon species, also because then she can actually travel through all the rings of hell. They're actually from German folklore. It only took me about a day or so to build her because I love coming up with new characters pretty much on the spot. Her hair is inspired by cotton candy, and even though I know we only see imps working at Lululand, I feel like after a bad experience working for Lulu World, she saw the Fizz sign outside of the park and pretty much weaseled her way into working there. Thanks for asking. Bruno Carrick asks, why exactly is Fizz your favorite Hell of a Boss character? He's my absolute fave too, but I'm just curious. Which Hell of a Boss episode is your fave? Which Hell of a Boss song is your fave? Which Hell of a Boss ship is your fave? In fact, I saw a few people ask why Fizz is my favorite. If my last simping video didn't answer that question enough, there are multiple reasons. I have a huge weakness for clown and jester characters, theme park themes, and Alex Brightman's voice. I was actually listening to the recording of the Beetlejuice musical all the time before this episode came out, and his vocal performance just made the character even better. My favorite Hell of a Boss episodes are 2 and 7 for a pretty obvious reason. My favorite song? Oh, that's a hard one. Admittedly, I know the answer to this should be Lululand, and that is one of my favorites, but I actually think You'll Be Okay might be my favorite so far. Shocker, I know. And as for my favorite ship, admittedly, OG Fizz and Asmodeus is pretty much my top favorite at this point. Rakiat asks, any crazy plans moving forward with the channel? Honestly, I love your personality, so having some videos around with your other interests or gaming would be tight. It's great you got so big so quick, you deserve it. Oh, thank you. I've actually been considering doing a bit of gaming on the channel too. I got a legit Switch, not the Switch Lite that I had before, so that I could possibly stream some stuff like Animal Crossing, my first time playing BioShock, Sonic Forces. Don't judge me, okay? I know the game wasn't that great, but I still kind of like it. Also, maybe the Subnautica games. I don't know. You guys interested in any of those? I'm gonna be fully honest, if I had the money and time available, I would also love to do some travel videos to theme parks, places like the Meow Wolf Galleries, the Clown Hotel, and oh man, I want to travel overseas again so bad. The roomies and I had a trip planned to the Netherlands to go to Efteling Park this year, and I'm so bummed out about the fact that it couldn't happen due to COVID. Also, the money had to be sunk into other things after the trip was canceled. I want to go so bad, you guys don't even understand. I'd also kill to do some urban exploring, but I don't even know where to start with stuff like that. To Google! Amy S. asks, you've made a lot of references to proper pieces of merchandise in the show that you would love to own from the latest episode. If you had a box arriving on your doorstep containing your top 3 favorite props or in-universe merchandise from the entire Hell of a Boss series so far, what would be in that box? Oh, can I count one of those Toy-Botic replicas of Fizz? Because, yeah, I'd want one of those. Maybe the box could just have 3 of him in there. That'd be nice too. But if I'm only rolling with 1 being in the box, I'd honestly love a copy of some of his posters. My favorite 2 are still Fizz Raleigh and the Handy Dandies and Mamon Cola. I also do like the cute little Fizz doll that they advertise. Mew Mew DJ asks, if you were to choose a Hell of a Boss character to save, would it be Blitz or Fizz? I feel like the answer to that one's relatively obvious. A Meme asks, have you ever had any experience editing before your YouTube channel? Because even your first video was pretty well done. P.S. Glad people are seeing your content. You make awesome stuff. Thank you. This is my 3rd attempt at YouTube, I think. My first time was just me going, I'm gonna be a theme park YouTuber, but then realizing that because I don't like showing my face, the videos were pretty boring. My second channel was a witchy channel, but I don't know, I felt really uncomfortable sharing that kind of stuff for some reason, so that went out the window. And way back in ye olden days of the beginning of YouTube, Tiny Me tried really hard to make anime music videos, but I was running off of Windows Movie Maker and they were all pretty shitty. So while my editing skills still leave a lot to be desired, and I'm not the best at editing things, it's also not my first rodeo. It is my first time in this particular program, though. Court Jester VA asks, when did you first realize that you were non-binary? I always love hearing people's stories of when they realized this sort of thing about themselves. Also, do you watch anime, and if so, what's your fave? Okay, so this story is a little bit weird and a little bit long, so I apologize ahead of time for that. I was originally a lot more, like, girly as a kid, the way that I dressed anyway. I loved the color pink, I loved dresses, but then I got super hardcore bullied in middle school and I just started hiding away in jeans and oversized t-shirts. But I also just, like, never wore makeup because not only did my mom refuse to show me how to do any of it or buy any of it for me, but when I got myself a little bit and tried putting it on, my grandma did the thing where she basically made fun of me until I took it off because she thought I was putting it on too heavy. But even without everyone exacerbating the issue, I never felt fully right. I don't know. I felt like I never really did girly things properly. I still ran around like the boys did, and I played with both girl and boy toys. I also loved watching my cousins play their quote-unquote boy video games. And then as I got older, the misgendering started. Due to my work uniforms and the fact that I decided to cut my hair short, I suddenly had people calling me sir all the time, and boy did that ever make me feel like shit. It felt like a lot of people were telling me that because I wasn't pretty and because I have short hair and because I wasn't wearing makeup that I must be a man. Even people on Tumblr started trying to tell me that I was trans just because I didn't fit in the girl box, but I knew I wasn't trans. I knew I wasn't male. I was totally okay with being considered an amorphous blob. I was totally okay with being considered female. Fuck, I'm okay being considered a potato, but being called sir constantly made me just feel like there was something wrong with me. So I started hyper-focusing on trying to be more feminine. I started wearing bows in my hair. I started wearing lipstick to work. And people still called me sir for some reason. I didn't even know what non-binary was for the longest time, but when I discovered it, finally things felt like they were starting to fall into place. I finally realized that I didn't need to fit in the girl or boy box. It, only took me 25 years to figure out. Now I just get to be me. And, oh god, that got deep. I'm sorry, guys. What was the other question? Anime. I admittedly haven't watched a new anime in a while, other than Interspecies Reviewers, but I do love Space Dandy. I still haven't watched the last episode, though, because I don't want to see it end. Giselle Vargas asks, how did you get into Hell of a Boss? And San Jacobos asks, when did you meet Vivzy Pop's projects and how? So I actually discovered Viv's work back in 2014. I honestly forget how. I think I just stumbled upon a piece of art of hers that I liked, probably of Angel, and I just fell into the rabbit hole of looking through her entire website and reading Zoophobia. I kind of fell out of things when the comics stopped, and then when the pilot for Has Been Hotel was announced, I went, wait, I know that artist! And I dove pretty hardcore back into all of her work again. Sugar Biscuit asks, ooh, excited for this Q&A. In that case, here's my question. Which episode made you the most emotional? Admittedly, episode 2 made me the most emotional. I actually really related a lot to Octavia's sadness thanks to all the shit my mom put me through as a kid, so that one hit me pretty hard. AZ asks, who's your favorite Has Been Hotel and or Hell of a Boss character? Captain Dweezil and Darcy Clark also asked me this as well, and Darcy came up with a great idea of listing a top 3. So if we're doing top 3 of my favorites, they would actually be Fizzarali as my number 1, Husker from Has Been as my number 2, and probably Angel Dust as my number 3. So to answer Cherry Keen's question about how I feel about Angel Dust, I honestly love him. He was the first character of Viv's that interested me back in 2014, so he holds a pretty special place in my heart, even if Fizz came in and literally drop-kicked Angel out the window. Leatherface asks, how do you feel about Alistair from Has Been Hotel? Also, good luck on reaching 20k, you deserve it. Thank you, friend. As for Alistair, I think he's honestly pretty neat. I love the Louisiana theme, the voodoo, his radio voice, and just overall think he's a pretty swell character. Viper asks, do you prefer Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss and why? Also, would you be excited if they came to a streaming service? Admittedly, I can't really make a full call on that one. Has Been hasn't fully come out, so I can't make a proper comparison as to which one I actually like more. As of this moment, Hell of a Boss just because it's got the most content. And I'm pretty sure Has Been is gonna be coming to a streaming service. I don't know yet. I'm really happy with Hell of a Boss being on YouTube though, because I feel like it reaches a wider audience that way. Collins Maxey asks, were you ever a clown or dressed up as a clown, or do you just like clowns? I'm just gonna hide this snazaroo makeup I have under my desk here. No, I haven't dressed as a clown. Yet. Leona Rose asks what I think of Blitz and Stolas' relationship. Honestly, I think they've got a long way to go. I do think the relationship is salvageable, but that's provided that both of them are willing to put in the work to do so. Commonwealth asks, if you became more famous, would your fan base be called Gators? I was actually just talking about this with my roommate yesterday in the car. I wasn't sure if I should stick with a rabbit theme for obvious reasons or if I should go with the gator thing. So I was thinking Gator Bites or Gatorlings. I don't know, probably just gonna put up a poll and see what everybody else thinks about my dumb nicknames. The end sequence actually happened because I realized last second that I needed some sort of hook at the end of my video, and the panic made that the first thing to come out. So yeah. Also Florida, Gators, I'm sure you get the picture. Super Saiyan Yamcha asks, my questions are, what other kinds of clown characters do you like since every brand of Fizz seems to be your favorite? Also, do you have any headcanon ideas for other notable demons that we haven't seen or have mentions of, like Leviathan or Belphegor? So I honestly love 3 characters from a video game called Nights into Dreams, which I know that some people know and some people don't. I actually have a statue of Knights in my room, and I was gonna get the Riala statue because Riala is my favorite, but that just kind of never wound up coming out, so I pulled myself out of the pre-order. I also really love Jackal, and I'm kind of sad that we don't get more Jackal content, but those are definitely some of my favorites. As bad as the game was, Balan Wonderworld also has a really cute character called Attilio that I liked until they did like the weird shipping thing with him, but I still like him. I don't blame the character for the bad writing. And I'm so excited for Mammon. So ready for Mammon. And the roomie and I make headcanons for him all the time. But some of those I don't think I can say on YouTube. But let's just say we think he's a penny pincher and refuses to spend money on anything because he's obsessed with hoarding it instead. Trevor Peterson asks, what is your favorite thing about Fizz?
I know it's a lot, the hair, the bod.
Oh gosh, that's hard. Other than his jester persona, I'm just gonna go with his voice. Christian Parrish asks, what were your favorite cartoons as a kid? What are your favorite voice actors and why? What are your favorite TV shows and movies? What are your favorite celebrities? And what are your favorite songs? Okay, that's a lot of questions. Here we go. My absolute favorite cartoon as a kid was Invader Zim, and I'm sure that explains a lot about me. I loved the show so much that people in school used to call me Zim because they realized that saying his name was the fastest way to get my attention. My favorite voice actors are actually Richard Horvitz for obvious reasons and Rob Paulsen. I actually used to have an autograph from Rob when I was little. I sent him a letter with a silly little drawing in it, and he sent me an autograph back. I'm super upset that I don't still have it. We used to move a lot, and the glass of the frame got broken. My mom said she'd fix it, but I'm pretty sure she just threw the whole thing away because I never saw it again. I kind of mentioned what TV shows I was into before, but as for movies, I'll fully admit that The Road to El Dorado was always one that I loved as a kid and thought was fun. And as cheesy and bad as it is, I love the Tank Girl movie. I used to watch it all the time when I was younger. I admittedly don't really have any favorite celebrities. Maybe Brendan Fraser, because that man deserves all the love, and Nathan Lane. I don't know. I kind of hesitate here because I more or less live under a rock, and I'm not sure who's done what to piss off the internet yet. As for songs, I have a lot of favorite songs. I cycle through favorites a lot. Lately, I've been listening to the entire soundtrack for Six the Musical, in which my favorite songs are No Way, Don't Lose Your Head, and All You Wanna Do. Also, the Shrek 2 rendition of I Need a Hero will always be in my top favorites. Just mwah, chef's kiss. Andrea Baranato asks, I have only one question. Do you like the Ghostbusters? Redax asks, tea, coffee, or milk? I'm actually a huge coffee fan. I'm kind of trying to weed myself off because that's definitely an addiction, but I also love tea. As for milk, I'm lactose intolerant and I've never really liked cow milk all that much. It always tastes rotten to me for some reason. I'm actually gonna go ahead and plug the coffee brand that I buy here because I feel like you guys will really get a kick out of it. There's a place here in Florida called Coffee Shop of Horrors, and all of their coffee is horror themed. They also roast it all themselves, so it's super fresh when you get it. You should totally go check them out. Rainer asks, how do you feel about your channel blowing up in popularity so suddenly? Do you have a favorite artist, music, animation, etc.? If so, then who? And most importantly, which goes first, milk or cereal? If I'm being fully honest, I'm both excited and kind of terrified. Like, I love it and I'm happy that I get to meet all of you guys through it, but there's always a lingering fear that I could let everyone down at pretty much any moment. I guess you could say that Frankenwaffle over on Etsy is one of my favorite artists. They also go by Nyx, and Nyx is the one who did the art for my end title sequence. They're also working on some stuff for a segment that I have coming up in the future called Tales from Lululand / Lulu World, which is all stories about working at theme parks, but under the guise of Lululand instead, so that I don't get in trouble with work or the places that I used to work at. So yeah, Nyx is working on some cute little reaction images, like sketchy ones of Callan for that for you guys. And as for your other question, since I don't really like milk and use milk substitutes, I always put the cereal first and then just splash enough milk over the top to get it wet. Otherwise, I really only pour the cereal in second if I have leftover milk and I'm still hungry. Scully Bats asks, do you have any advice for people who want to start up their own YouTuber / Vtuber channel? What's the best and worst thing about being a YouTuber, and how and why did you start being a YouTuber? Okay, so I'm gonna be fully honest with you here. I am flying by the seat of my pants. I don't really know what advice I can give you other than just talk about the things that you're passionate about, and apparently people will come. Also, don't forget to take breaks to stretch, please. Spending hours on end editing in shrimp position hurts so bad. Don't forget to eat either. The best part of being a YouTuber is honestly the interaction with all of you guys. I love having all of you chat at me. It's so much fun. And the worst is, again, the looming constant fear that I could do or say anything wrong and then suddenly everyone will realize I'm not worth their time and leave. But that could also be the hardcore anxiety talking. I actually wanted to start being a YouTuber because I used to type a lot of my headcanons and stuff out, only to discover that not a lot of people actually like to read. Like, my text walls would usually get overlooked in the favor of someone's art, but here on YouTube, I can talk till I'm blue in the face and there are actually people out there who want to listen. And what can I say? It feels really nice to be listened to. It's great to find other people who feel the same way and are maybe going through the same experiences or have the same thoughts, you know? Kelso the Sarcasm Pirate asks, are jesters or clowns better in your opinion? I myself think that there are distinct differences between the two and prefer Jesters. Honestly, while I personally do love both, I think Jesters are my favorite out of the two, but it's a pretty hard decision for me. Also, I have a lot of you in other videos asking to see my Fizz collection all of a sudden, so here you go. Just keep in mind, this isn't even all of it. This isn't showing all the shirts, the playmats, or all the shit that I'm still waiting on from Shark Robot. Shark Robot, come on, get your shit together. Or the stuff that I have coming from Etsy, or the new autographs I just spent every last penny on. And the audio shout out. Oh god, I'm so excited for that. I also may or may not have bought tickets to go see Beetlejuice the musical in May. Oh my god, I still can't even believe that's actually happening. The stars aligned, the prices were relatively cheap. I've got all this Christmas money about to come in from work soon. And I looked at the roomie who keeps my credit cards locked in his lockbox and suddenly went, "Carve, get me my credit card." It's still a lot of money, but it'll be worth it. Kaminari Denki asks, if you had one choice, would it to be go deaf or go blonde? Blonde. Which would you choose? Blonde. I've already been blonde in the past, so we're gonna go with blonde. Peggy Pound asks, what is your opinion on the mitochondria? It's totally the powerhouse of the cell, but that's just my opinion. KK asks, what are your pronouns? That's gonna be she, they, please, friends. And last but certainly not least, Ellie asks, why do you love clowns so much? Okay, so this one might be another long answer, but I'm not entirely sure where it originated from. My grandma did used to take me to the circus a lot as a kid, back when it used to be a thing. And by a lot, I mean probably twice, but it felt like a lot. Harley Quinn from the Batman animated series was probably a big part of it too, but I'm willing to bet that Cirque du Soleil is actually where my sheer love for clowns and jesters came from. After all, not all clowns are the usual birthday haha clowns like people think they are. Any of the performers doing comedy acts for Cirque du Soleil are also considered clowns, and boy did I ever fall in love with Cirque du Soleil. Funny story for you guys. Back in, I want to say 2008, my mom and I were house sitting for my aunt, and there was nothing for me to do while we were there. I didn't have any handheld gaming systems at the time because my shit had been stolen, and I'd run out of things to draw, so I walked over to the library that was right next door, and I got a library card, and no, I didn't rent books. Why would I do that at a library, silly? I started renting movies. That was when I discovered that that particular library had a whole collection of Cirque du Soleil DVDs. That was literally all I watched over that entire weekend, and I was hooked. It made me remember a very strange videotape that my grandma had given me when I was very small. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably what started this whole thing. It was a Cirque tape for the show Kidam. I've been fortunate enough to get to see 2 Cirque shows live, which are La Nuba, back when it was over at Disney Springs, and Amaluna, back when it first came out over in Washington. Fuck, I would have killed to have seen Zarkana over at Radio City, and I would love to see the show Curios, I believe is how it's pronounced. But yeah, long story short, I love Cirque du Soleil. I also remembered seeing some really cute porcelain jester dolls as a kid, and now I collect them. It is my goal to have what I refer to as a grandma shelf. You know those glass shelves that all grandmas seem to have that they display stuff in? My great grandma had one with porcelain dolls in it when she was still around. She even had a Princess Diana doll. I'm just getting a super head start on mine. I'm gonna blow all the other grandmas out of the water with my clown collection. Though I'm not exactly gonna be a grandma because I'll never have kids. But anyway, that about wraps it up for this Q&A session. Thank you all so much for asking me these questions and for being here with me. Again, I really can't appreciate you guys enough. As always, all of my links are down in the description, and I realized my Twitter isn't anywhere, so I'm adding that one in there now too. I'll see you all in the next mess. Later, Gators.